Hello, everyone. Susan Gerbic here from Psychics Explained. Oh my gosh, nobody may ever see this video. I don't know. I'm not psychic. So I am creating this video and several after it about a medium that you've never heard of, but I'm going to reveal all of that right now. And it is the woman who, at the moment, I think I'm going to target for a sting operation banana cream pie. Now, I am really close to doing it. And this video is just meant to be one of several that is going to explain who she is, why she was picked, what I think is going on, and so on. So I'm not going to show you any clips in this video. I have 3 more videos with that show in detail the instances of her hot reading and the proof of her hot reading to 3 other women. I have one of my team members is going to work on finding the hot reading for a couple other readings that this medium has done. So if you're watching this video, quickly look down and see if it's private. If it's unlisted, please do not share this video. If it's public, then that means I've already decided I'm going to release it and it's out there to be shared however you want. Or maybe I've decided to go ahead with Operation Banana Cream Pie and I'm all done with it. And then this video has been released. Or maybe I've decided not to do the sting for various reasons, which will probably become evident in another video that I will do in the future. Again, I'm not psychic. So the person I'm interested in is a woman named Susanne, Susanne, Wilson, Wilson. You can look her up if you want. She's nobody I'd ever heard of before, but somebody had suggested, some friend of ours on the YouTube channel had suggested that she be somebody I look into because they suspected that she is hot reading. And sure enough, I watched the video they sent me and it was as obvious as the day is long. And I went and I found the information right away for the first reading. And then I found information for the second reading. And then later readings, I wasn't able to get as much information because these are readings that are happening over Zoom, as you'll see in later videos, and the person's name's on the screen. Now, Susanne has better access to these people than I do. So I have been watching her videos. Last night, I think I did 5 hours of different interviews she has done. And I went to bed thinking I'm going to have this woman, rattling along in my dreams. So I'm not going to go into great detail. Maybe that'll be some other day of the claims she makes, which are way out there, or her backstory, or I'm not going to get into that because it's too much. But I will let you know that she is called the Carefree Medium, and she's called the Carefree Medium because she has a very positive look about, it's very, death is cool. Everybody over there is having a really great time and don't hurry up and go. She never encourages anybody to hurry up and go, but she definitely says everything is amazing on the other side. You can eat whatever you want. You hang out all the time. They watch people down here on Earth and they talk about us and brag about us to their friends. They take classes. They're just having the best life possible. Their pets are there. And like I said, they can eat anything they want. So that's one of the reasons why she kind of has that flippant kind of, it's so cool. But because she lives in Carefree, Arizona, which I'd never heard of before. So she has Susanne is been around a long time, apparently, though I'd never heard of her. And she was a corporate person. I think she's got degrees. She has, I think, an MBA, doing really well in life. And then she had what she calls a near-death experience. And then she decided that the cosmos or spirit or somebody had decided that she needed to start taking this seriously. And according to her, she's had the ability to be a medium since she was a little girl, and that her grandfather, who was a pastor who also believed in all kinds of stuff like this, was the one who kind of helped her along, I guess. Anyway, so her origin story, like I said, is kind of long. But what happened is she moved to Carefree, Arizona, and decided she was going to do mediumship readings. And along the way, she ends up by accident kind of having meeting this woman named Elizabeth. And Elizabeth is one of the founders of Helping Parents Heal. So that's about all you need to know at the moment. So Helping Parents Heal is an organization that I've been looking into for a very long time because they used to endorse Thomas John, who was one of their mediums, and he was preying on the people in the organization because this is a group, it's a 501c that, and I believe it's mostly online, though they do have conferences and things like that, but their talks are online, and they have gallery readings and lectures by different various mediums, I think once a month. Their membership is probably about 20,000, I think. As I listened to the different videos, they were saying the different amounts. I think they're up to 20,000, 25,000 on Facebook, they said. And it looks like I think a few hundred will attend one of their conferences. One of their Zoom events with a medium is about 50 people, I think. So I'm not in the organization. I'm not going to get in the organization. I think that's just too intrusive. So I can glean what I can glean. So Thomas John was involved with this group for a while, and I believe what ended up happening is they started getting a lot of complaints that he was hot reading the clients and or not fulfilling his obligations when they purchased a reading. He didn't come forward with it, so he's gone now, and I'm not privy to everything that happened in there. I just know he's gone. So this woman seems to be using the same kind of tactics. Boy, she is really smooth, though. She is very professional. She looks great. She has, she seems empathetic. She is everything that Thomas John is not. And she has a long history with the organization. She even introduced one of the other board members, Mark Ireland, to Elizabeth, there's this huge group of very, very seemingly nice people. They seem intelligent, educated, caring, and they have something in common, which is their child has died. So that is the foundation of Helping Parents Heal, is that they are kind of an alternative grief group. And they say that, that they're open to everybody, and that, don't shun, medical or traditional medicine or anything like that, and other kinds of therapy, or working with a clergy member or something like that to help you get through your grief. So they don't advocate for that, but there's other issues. It's a very trusting, very assume competence kind of mentality there. Everybody seems to get along. They love each other. They all know each other's stories. And I believe that a lot of this happens on Facebook. And what happens when you're on Facebook in these private groups, I can't see it, obviously, but they can see each other's stories, and that's fine, no problem. They're helping each other get through grief, they say. But the mediums, I believe, are also in those rooms and the Facebook groups. Now, I don't know this for certain, but I knew that it was happening with Thomas John, and I was told that by somebody who was in this organization. And I believe that Susanne is also in there along with other mediums, because it would make it much easier for her to find the information. But also some of the things she said in the lectures that I've heard, I'm not going to go into detail at the moment, but I have this, that my impression is, she says, like, she was one of the first mediums that got involved with the organization. And she says other mediums have come along to help. And so she also attends conferences and is very intimate with all these different people. They know each other very well. Long history. I think my first reading of hers, not a reading, I think it was a lecture she did in 2016 that I watched. And that was an in-person event in December 2016, I think. I've done so many, I don't know. So I cannot find everything because I am not in the group and I do not have intimate knowledge of these people. And as I said, I'm not planning on joining the group, nor is any of my team members are going to get in the group. This is a grief group for parents who've lost their children. And I know there's a lot of grief groups out there and for all kinds of different reasons, but these are mainly adult children or, well, any kind of age of child. And it seems to be about 95% female from some of the other things I've seen slip, which is typical, right? So, all right, getting back to Susanne. Let me look at my notes. I tend to talk without notes, and I tend to, nothing scripted, as you will know if you're a follower of this channel. So I really dislike that kind of thing. I want to be able to speak as I speak. And if I forget something, I forget something, and I'll try to make it up in another video. So I would think if you're interested in this topic to follow one video after the other, try not to come out of order. So this is the first video I'm creating. So if you want to follow the other ones and see where I picked up on things, because oh my gosh, you guys, there's so much to explain and I can't explain it every dang time. So here we go. Da, da, da. All right. So the people that are getting the readings, the people in Helping Parents Heal and who are her supporters and getting readings. And this is true of all of the people in the group that are getting readings, that they are unlikely to ever change their mind. Never. We could take the evidence and put it right in their face and show them the hot reading that is happening of their own child. And either they won't watch it or they will just totally make up an excuse and say, they'll either say so you caught her once, or that's not evidence, or you skeptics, you're evil and how dare you, and something like that. But they're not likely to ever change their mind. And this is because that when you have accepted that you have a reading with your child and your child is in communication with the medium and therefore sending you messages and has told you that they love you, they forgive you, they're watching over you, that they care, they can't wait to see you again. When you've received that message you think you've received that message from your dead child, nothing else is going to work. And so they are not my target. There's nothing I could do about it. If they were to try to believe that this person is messing with them and making it up and they're really not in contact with the dead, it would be like, I mean, cognitive dissonance, talk about just like your head just go, you can't, I don't think you could do it. It would be like having your child die again. And the grief and everything that you thought you knew is gone. And it was all a lie. And I mean, just think about the time you might have felt betrayed and in your life, somebody's making promises to you and telling you these wonderful things. And then you find out later it was a lie, that they were cheating on you, or they took your money. They, ruined your credit, stole your dog. I mean, whatever it is, when you find out something like that, think about the absolute grief you already have over the loss of your loved one. And that now you've been fooled, conned, whatever. And I can't even imagine. So take that off the table. So the reason why I'm going to do stings like this one, I've done them in the past, is because I want the psychic to be aware that they've been caught. And maybe some people will start distancing themselves away from them. Plus, because everything's public, once it's done, anybody Googling their name is going to immediately find the sting, and then they'll be forewarned. I rarely change anybody's mind about psychics in total, but I do steer people, the different things steer people away from a specific medium. And they come to me and they say, oh my gosh, that person is horrible. I can't believe what they did now, but my psychic's fine. Or they say, show me which ones are the real psychics. I get that all the time. They're not ready to believe it, and may never be able to realize that there's nobody out there who's communicating with the dead. So keep that also in mind. Another thing I keep saying in all the videos, and I want to make sure this is super clear, the people who believe in mediumship, who follow this, are not stupid. They're not necessarily gullible. Some may be willfully ignorant, because obviously evidence for mediumship and all the investigations that have been done since before Houdini are out there. They're available for anybody to find. So if you had wanted to know about mediumship and what the science world or the scientific skepticism world says about mediumship, it's easy to access, but you probably would have to go look for it. It's not something that the media is picking up on these stories and telling them, because it doesn't sell well and it's a downer. So, and nobody wants that. They want happy, feel good kind of stuff, right? So these are not stupid people. Some of these people may be very skeptical about things in life, maybe all their life, but just this one area is like, or off limits, or they later in life, as they get closer to death, or once they've experienced the death of somebody they love so much, they tend to gravitate towards this world of believing in mediumship, because they've just moved to that area. Also, keep in mind, especially in cultures that have a belief in a life after death, so Christianity, all the different parts of religion of that, they believe in life after death. They also believe in demons and angels, and they believe there's all this evidence, and that there are scientists out there who are starting to believe it, and there's been tests done, and these people solve crimes, these mediums, they believe all this from practically birth. It's drilled into their head that people do communicate with the dead, because the dead are right over there. It's just like right there. And that some people must be able to do that. Because why not? I mean, if you're going to go to heaven and people in heaven send you these signs, then of course, some people have the ability to communicate with the dead. So these people are conditioned this way. And why would they challenge it? It just wouldn't be something that even occurred to them. It's like a lot of different religion. Why would you think that way, that to challenge your religion when you're raised in it? You feel loved, you feel supported, you feel like it's your community. You know, you're going to lose your friends, your family, your community if you were to turn your back on these kinds of cultural things that you were raised in, and it's going to be really uncomfortable. So this is the world that we're living in. These people believe it also because they need to believe it. The grief is in there, and it is so awful that having this comfort that their person is right there watching them, talking to them, loving on them, giving them messages, sending them birds, dropping pennies on the ground, or whatever they're doing, it's so much more comforting than to believe that there's nothing. You die, you're gone. They would much rather believe that they're going to go see that loved one, they're going to spend eternity with them, and see all the other people that they loved, and everyone's forgiven, and there's no fighting, and everybody loves each other, and peace, and puppies and kittens, and probably your fish, and who knows what, anything that's a pet that you loved is on the other side, and they will be there with you, even if you're reincarnated. I learned this last night. Whew. They believe that Susanne was saying that even if you're reincarnated, even if the person who's dead is reincarnated, they will still be there. A version of them will still be in heaven when you get there. And even though you're in the living, that's what they call it, a version of you is still in heaven right now. I mean, none of this makes any sense to me at all, but that's okay. This is what they're telling them, and the people are nodding their heads and crying, and they're like, yes, this is absolutely true, because they need to believe it. Now, that says a lot about the psychology of the people who are conditioned or ready to believe this. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I have no idea why some people are more able to buy into that than other people who are like, nope, I ain't buying that. That's full of it. Okay, let me see. So as I was saying, that give these people a break, right? Some of them are in grief, and some of them were, and a lot of them, if not all of them, have been conditioned to believe this. So before I get to the hot reading videos, I need to be sure to explain that what you're not going to see is the videos where she's reading people off of the stage. Like she's doing a lecture and then she's on the stage and then she hot reads the people in the audience. And I know they're hot reading because the details, the way the details are, it's much less vague. It's much more specific. I know that sounds like she's really a psychic, but the thing is, it's also woven through all those lectures that she's giving and all the time she's been up on the stage is that she knows these people. She knows their stories. She could easily look at their social media and find out their stories. So I can't prove it because I don't know who it is she's talking to in the audience. They never show the person in the audience. It's just her on stage giving a reading to somebody she's had stand up in the audience, and they're agreeing to everything, and you can hear a lot of sniffles and people crying near the microphone. So I assume they're hot reading because anytime you have had a reading with the medium and then you go back and you have another reading with the medium, even if it's been years apart, there's always the possibility of contamination. That's during the reading they're giving you, they will remember that they have given you a reading before and they will go towards what they told you before. Sometimes people even admit it. Like I saw you last year. And the medium's like, oh yeah. And Susanne also says to these people in the audience, I've given you a reading before, or I've seen you before. And other things that Susanne says is that before, like the day before the reading, the lecture she's giving at whatever conference, this Helping Parents Heal conference thing that she's doing, she says that she's in her hotel room doing research and, getting ready for the lecture she's going to do the next day. And I know exactly what she's doing because I've done that. I've been that person. Now, for many, many years, my partner, Mark Edward, who was a professional mentalist and also a psychic, worked as a psychic, not as I was with him since 2009, but we went and did lectures all over the world, New Zealand, Australia, UK, Scotland, all over the United States. And we did lectures on mediumship and what is actually going on. And even when Mark would do magic at like the Magic Castle or different events, we would still do this thing called pre-show. Now, pre-show is a nice way of saying that's usually what magicians or mentalists, mentalism is a type of magic that is more psychic related, like seance or reading people's minds, cold reading, not like a bunny coming out of a hat or sawing a woman in half or coin tricks or card tricks. So mediumship does have some elements of that kind of magic to it, depends on the mentalist, but mostly it is mind games. And Mark was very, very good at it. And one of the things that he did once he met me is I was very good at research and I'm really good at social media. And I know people who are really good at these things. And so what I learned is how to use social media and other kinds of Google related newspaper.com, Ancestry, Intellus, other kinds of avenues. I mean, the internet has just blossomed with ways of finding out information about people. So what we would do, and this is what I suspect is going on with Susanne, I don't know this for sure, but this is my suspicion, is that when she's going to attend a conference, there's usually an event kind of thing that's created, maybe like a Facebook group that is an event, who's coming. And it helps break the ice and it helps them understand not only if they bought a ticket, but to help to get the people in the group more happy about who they're going to see. And they're like, oh, my friend I met the last conference will be here. I see she's on the list, kind of thing. And so when these Facebook groups, and I'm using Facebook because it's the easiest to do what I'm about to explain to you, but it's not the only way of doing it. It's just the easiest and the quickest, is that when they create these groups that are private or public, it doesn't matter. But in this case, it would be definitely private. If you have access to that list, then all you have to do is go down the list and click on all the people who are going to be saying they're going to be there. And you're looking at their Facebook page. Now there's lots of different ways of doing this. I had my methods, and I could find at least 3 pieces of information on, I needed only probably, Mark would need like maybe 5 people. And if you go to a Facebook page and you're not getting anything, then you move to the next person. Because if you got 50 people or 200 people attending an event and you only need 3 to 5 people, it's very simple to find them. And so what you can do is you just go into the Facebook page. I mean, I'll have to do a video on this someday. You go into the Facebook page, you go immediately to the photos is where I usually go. And then you can go through the photos and you can find old photos, Veterans Day photos, photos of what am I saying? Like Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays. A lot of these are older looking photos, sepia or black and white, and boom, you're right there. Anniversary photos of your parents and things like that. You can also go into the search button that's on Facebook, and then you can type in words like anniversary, Veterans Day, birthday, obituary, or whatever, and it leads you right immediately to those posts that you have on Facebook. It's very simple. And so, as I say, we only need 3 to 5, 3 things really. And once you have those 3 items, and they could be anything, then when the medium gets a hold of them, and I'm talking about Mark Edward, he would get those items, he would embellish it in such a way so it wasn't obvious he was taking it from your Facebook page. I would give him the hot reading and he would say a story, because he's a storyteller, and that's what mentalism is, storytelling. I have videos of this up on my YouTube channel. If you're very interested in watching one, recently I put one up with Mark Edward in New Zealand. If you look at the playlist for Mark Edward in New Zealand, you'll see him hot reading an audience using the information that I gave him ahead of time. And we've done this tons of times. It does not take long. I would set aside about an hour, and I would easily go through the people's pages and find more than enough. And he'd be like, no, stop already. You got enough. And he could take, like, somebody would share their birthday and maybe the year. So they could say on Facebook, oh, I'm celebrating my 50th birthday. And so you figure out, oh, their birthday is this day, this year. So it would be really simple for me to go to a calendar on the internet and say, oh, this person was born on a Tuesday. They're an Aquarius or whatever, because now I know the date and year. And then Mark would go up on stage and he would make some kind of offhand remark to the person when he pulled him out of the audience. He's getting a feeling over here. Something about travel. Well, you Aquariuses always are traveling. He'd say something like that, and the person would be like taken aback because they're like, how did you know I was an Aquarius? Or he would say, he could say something like, sometimes your temper gets the better of you. And that is how people born on Tuesdays are. And they'd be like, what? How did you know I was born on a Tuesday? So what he's telling them is not directly, it's not like, here it is on my Facebook page. He tells it in a way that you can't necessarily see that it's on a Facebook page. We used to do it all the time. Gosh, I had so much fun finding that. Of course, then after, he never ever would do talking to dead stuff. Not when I knew him, never, except for the Houdini sing-outs, which was a magic act, which is, we know what that is. But he wouldn't go into depth about somebody's dead loved ones or anything like that. He'd only do things that were, like I said, you're traveling a lot. I see that you bought a new pair of shoes, and you were born on a Tuesday, that kind of stuff. And then we almost always, we always did, I think, revealed how we found out that information or what we did, unless he was performing like a magic, like the Magic Castle or something like that. And then it was like, wink, wink, nod, nod. Of course, this is magic. And I'm not going to tell you how I figured that out. So it does not take long. You do not have to memorize something from everybody in the audience. You only need about 3 things. You don't even need to write it down. You could practically remember these in your head if you have a good enough memory, or you could jot it down somewhere and it'd be really simple to reflect on later, or just look at you could put it on a Post-it and then just look at it right before and then rip it up afterwards, or during right before you go on. You could easily remember this. If you can remember like what's on your shopping list, if you leave it at home, you write it out, you remember, you go to the grocery store, you go, oh, I forgot my shopping list, but you still get the right items, then you probably have your memory is fine for doing this for hot reading, for a mediumship reading like what Susanne does. So also keep in mind that the people that she's reading for are motivated sitters. They have bought into this. They're part of this organization, Helping Parents Heal. They truly believe in mediumship. And there's no way that they're going to get, if in the reading that they're getting with the medium, are they going to say, oh, no, that's not right. You're full of it, or you got that from my Facebook page. No, peer pressure is going to keep them from saying anything like that, even if they think it. And they want to buy into it because they think that communication with the dead is difficult. And so sometimes maybe things have to be stretched a little bit. So yeah, she mentioned a dog that was black. My dog was actually kind of a brown, more light brown, but I'll take it because maybe she's just seeing the dog as black. So they're willing to give the benefit of the doubt because they're helping out the medium and because mediumship isn't perfect. This is a phenomena that we see in the world of magic also. When a magician calls on somebody, they're not likely to call on somebody who's going to give them a hard time, a heckler or anything like that. They're more likely to look for somebody who's more compliant. And the people who are in Helping Parents Heal tend to be, since they're already wanting this so bad and they're already into that mindset, they're more likely to be compliant with if the psychic isn't quite right, We'll just move on with that. They're not going to say anything. So, all right. I think that's it. As I said, remind you that this video may never see the light of day. Or it might only be seen by a couple people who are working on the sting with me. And if this video is private, please don't share it. Or if it's unlisted, please don't share it. If it's public, it's free game. So I'm going to go and do these other readings now. Other videos now showing the details. I'm going to blur out faces, even though the videos are public. Even though the parent chose to be in this environment, I'm going to still make it sort of private. I'm going to blur it enough and take out last names. And that's just my choice. The people in Helping Parents Heal did not make that decision, and everything they have on there is public. They have, and they make a disclaimer before each video that says that they have private meetings, and those are private and not released to the public. But these things that are lecture and gallery readings and things like that with the mediums, that is public, is a way of educating and so on. So I can't think of any other better way of educating than to do this. But their names are not important to the story. They are for me to be able to find the information, but they're not important for you guys out there. Besides, you can find the video online. It's on YouTube. All these videos are public. These aren't private videos. So I think I'm going to blur. When you spend so much time with these people, the parents, as I have to find the information that I'm finding and to delve into their Facebook pages and their the obituaries they have, it feels very intrusive. It's very personal, and you feel a lot of angst I feel like a relationship with these people. And of course, they don't know who I am and they probably would hate me, but my heart goes out to them. They're dealing with some horrible grief, and not just one person, but sometimes multiple persons. And they have hardships in their lives and love lost and everything. It's just really sad. So I have a lot of sympathy towards them, and I just feel funny about putting things up and saying, here, check out this lady, and you can go and Google her and you can go talk to her yourself. Because please don't approach any of these people. They're not going to listen to you. And it would just be, it would make people who are scientific skeptics look really bad. And we already look really bad. So please don't approach anybody. But you're welcome to let any venue know that enables her, anybody who's doing a story on her, anybody who supports her in by allowing her to be able to continue doing she's doing. You're more power to you about releasing that information to them and letting them know your thoughts. Okay. Thanks, everyone. I won't say like and subscribe because I may not have released this video. So we'll see. Take care.